sirs and sirs. Welcome back to Krown's magical prediction cave.
Out! Out, out! Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a lovely Thursday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. Actually bright and sunny outside right now, which is a sign of the changing times. So with that said, I do want to give a special shout out to our new musical composer, Mr. Corduroy, for making that track, that intro track right there. You're not going to be able to find that track anywhere else because it's exclusive to here, and it's oh so fucking good. I was actually really blown away by it because, you know, anytime when, Elsa was blown away too, as she wants you to know. Anytime someone like hits me up saying, hey, I want to make some, you know, for this or that. It's like, you know, it's cool. It's you know, it's great and everything, but you never expect something that's like truly fucking professional like that. And that was goddamn special. So I was very impressed by that. Massive shout out to him, and massive shout out to you as well. Happy Thursday, sirs and zers. And as always, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest. So let's get into this right now. Starting off with the Krown Chain application, which we found at app.krownchain.net. And we actually do see a lot of very interesting things. So I want to follow up from yesterday's short-term time frame analysis because I would have gotten trapped in Bitcoin's little short-term time frame bullshit move right there. But the fucking key, there was one major massive key, and that was Nasdaq, as we did look at yesterday, which does pretty much precipitate all major market moves, or at least in the way that we've been looking at it from a major indice perspective, and Bitcoin now following through with that. So with that in mind, we're going to be crafting this whole thing around that sort of that sort of an analysis, and that actually really does help out Bitcoin's more medium and long-term case. Now, short-term, of course, that is going to be a function of both the open interest and our current price action structure, of which we do now see a range correlated with price action. Bitcoin putting in that little bit of a trappy trap right above 50 or right below $53,000 was going to, or sorry, does provide a nice range for price action with open interest. If you recall, yesterday we were right around about 8.25 billion, that is. Now you can see Bitcoin already come down about 300 million from that level. So we do see that longs are taking profits, and that does play into the narrative that we are seeing a range constructed, which is going to ultimately turn into reaccumulation as longs are essentially driving the price action. Bulls are still in full control here, but as we've been looking at on the higher term timeframes, Bitcoin still does have that threat of a move lower, either to $45,000 or all the way down right around $40,000. Either which way, I do look at that as a major opportunity, and I do look at that as incredibly important to be talking about, and that's why I've been starting off all these streams with that, because that has always been a major portion of this next sort of I guess this month of price action here. So with all of that in mind, we can look at the Bitcoin dominance. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself right now, but Bitcoin dominance still hanging around that 61% region, of which I'm still looking at this as a major low. We haven't seen any sort of breakages, or sorry, any sort of a break of structure as Bitcoin does come down. So what does that imply? It implies that Bitcoin and altcoins are kind of operating in concert right now and putting in a bit of a base there for the Bitcoin dominance, that is, meaning that if Bitcoin does play out, or sorry, does break any of the medium-term ranges, probably do see altcoins lose their value versus Bitcoin there. However, it would be relevant to go check it out today. Fear and greed index also a bit of a laggard right now too, as you do see that this is obviously operating off of the daily close, and as you saw that the market did get a bit more optimistic on that 53,000 almost tick yesterday that we did see. On top of that, I am just curious to see what the top 10 coins and top worst coins were doing yesterday, and yeah, we do see actually some big losers, down 11%, down 10%, all across the board for a lot of these altcoins over here. And then the best 10 over here, Engine Coin, I've seen on this list a couple days in a row now up 35% in the last day. That is insane. So it actually would be an interesting day to kind of look at some of the altcoins here, because as I've been saying for like the last week, we really are starting to see bifurcation within the altcoin market, meaning that some altcoins are looking absolutely phenomenal, some altcoins are looking absolutely dreadful. And with all of that in mind, the Bitcoin dominance chart is not going to be fully representative of the whole altcoin market as it kind of once was. I think that we now need to divide these things up by sector, and realistically the sectors would be like DeFi coins and your 2017 shitcoin crop, and then, you know, the ones before that in 2015 and 2016, and the ones before that are pretty much irrelevant already. So, you know, with all of that in mind, I do think that it does require a little bit more of a delicate analysis, as you can't just blanket statement all altcoins together with each other. They got like a little bit different now. You know, we can let them ride in the front seats of the bus, and they're no longer relegated to the back seats. You damn shitty altcoins. No, of course, like there are actually some good ones, which is very interesting to me, because we are seeing this market mature, and that is a good thing, again, long term. Anyways, going to the market data tab over here in the Krown Chain application, which I did forget to mention that it is, by the way, 100% free, and you can claim your own account at app.krownchain.net. You can see it very easily here with the price action chart overlaid with the open interest chart. Again, what I expect to see over these next couple days here is open interest very likely does come down alongside price action come down. If that happens, that really does set in the bullish bias for Bitcoin building a base somewhere in the mid to low $40,000 region, which I would interpret as a major opportunity. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do like that with the reset on the funny rate here, which has been trending down ever since we did hit our major highs in middle of February, as you can see. So all of this, I do still look at it as long-term good, but in the short term, does that really matter, with our current massive ranges? No. Well, it's not that it doesn't matter. It's just not very helpful, because it's like you have a $10,000 fucking dollar range and you can't just blindly say, well, the long-term looks good, and so I'm just gonna leave these positions uncovered. No, or at least I would not suggest that, because $10,000 move is always a $10,000 move now, isn't it? Anyways, when we go and zero in on the funny rates, again, this is very deceptive in the way that we're actually presenting this chart right here. As you can see, there's really no exchange even above 0.04%. I see Bybit like right below there. I see FTX at 0.29, and then everyone else is pretty much at the at parity, 0.01%, which is not in any way, shape, or form demeaning. Now, what I would also be looking for, if things are going to really turn around, to present a more Bula-ish case, or at least this would be a really fucking obvious sign, is if Bitcoin does come back down to the bottom side of this range, somewhere around the mid to low $40,000 region, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. And this would be a classic signal if we do see some of the funny rates actually go negative within that territory. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just a little bit would be good, as that would imply that holders are essentially getting paid to hodl their position. Well, not hodlers, but margin positions would be getting paid when Bitcoin is more or less still within a range. It hasn't really broken anything structurally critical. So with all of that in mind, I do think that is warranted to now go into the price action charts, and we're going to start off with a little bit of a different look today, because I do think that this is the one chart to be ruling them all right now, to quote the Lord of the Rings. And this is the chart that we really that we were spending a lot of time on yesterday, and this one was the one that was kind of like throwing me for a loop, because I think that Nasdaq was pretty obviously bearish, and we were looking for that move lower to about 13,000, or sorry, below 13,000 bucks. 12,700 was my level from yesterday, or 12,800 was my level from yesterday. And that target was met. But the thing is that when you go on the lower term timeframes, you can see that this one was obviously printing lower highs, had a bearish death cross right here between the 55 and the 200 on the 4 hour. And it was, well, just quite literally trending with momentum to the downside alongside hidden bearish divergence. So, you kind of have the trifecta or quadfecta of all of the different things that I'd be looking for a nice little move right there. And seeing as NASDAQ is highly correlated with just about all major markets and does seem to lead and really set the tone for everything, that naturally flowed on over to Bitcoin. Problem is, Bitcoin would have gotten me good yesterday, would have gotten me really fucking good, because Bitcoin did not put in that same sort of lower high structure right here. Actually made a little bit of a higher high, as you can see, and now kind of trying to float its way aimlessly sideways. But to me, this looks a lot more obvious now, and I do look at this as still likely to come back down to those levels. Remember, this does play into the long-term analysis here on the monthly, especially because we do see that the topside Toronto band is currently hovering around the low $40,000 region, a little bit above 40,000 bucks, and then the bi-monthly is right around 39,000 bucks. And holy moly, man, what was that all about? Hey, what's going on right here? Anthony Lorenzo says, hey, Krown, can you take a look at Muse? We will look at it a little bit later, man, but I would like to get through Bitcoin first and foremost here. I want these thoughts to be, nice thread of consciousness, but I promise we will get back to that. Anyways, both the bi-monthly and monthly have a very significant trend over the history of Bitcoin's 11-year history, that is, or actually 11 plus year history. As anytime that we've seen a closure above the topside Toronto band, every fucking time, 100% of the time, every goddamn time, we have seen Bitcoin come back down and at the very least test the topside Toronto band, of which, put your fucking forks down, god damn it. Sorry, girlfriend needs to listen. Anyways. Are you starting a band or something? What the fuck? Anyways, looking at this right here, what I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted, by the way, is yes, that can happen two ways where Bitcoin tests the topside Toronto band. It either comes back down and tests around this level, which would imply another low somewhere around the low $40,000 region, or it does reaccumulate at 45,000 bucks. Try and move higher. That probably gets around 60,000 bucks, and then it'll naturally pull the topside Toronto band to the bottom side of our current $45,000 low. Which one's more likely? I do think the downside is a little more likely, especially looking at Nasdaq, which looks more or less poised to put in a bit of a correction. Well, not a bit of a correction, but one of those nice 10% corrections that I think is more or less due over the long term. Wouldn't necessarily again make me bearish here for the long term. I do think that it ultimately turns into a major opportunity, but short term within the month of March, it probably does play out some downside. upside. So with all of that in mind, I do think that Bitcoin, or at least I personally would favor the downside analysis of that one. But as you can see, that can happen two ways. And so if it does happen where Bitcoin actually does move the upside, it really wouldn't start to catch the low at about 45,000 bucks until, and again, there's actually like not a specific way for me to do this right here, but I would imagine around about 60,000 bucks, perhaps even around that $62,000 target to the upside if and when Bitcoin does decide to get moving once again. But for right now, I do think that this is a time to be more or less defensive on Bitcoin or be looking for those long-term opportunities. And I hope that my patience is going to be rewarded here like a good little boy. I've been a good little Krown recently, and I want my goddamn targets, motherfucker. Sorry, but the market should listen when you do pray. Anyways, yes, going back down to the lower term timeframes over here on Bitcoin, on BitMEX specifically, we do see 4-hour Stokes nice and angled to the downside. We did say that yesterday. Yes, this is looking a little bit shaky, and to be fair, I mean that was just that, you know, these sorts of moves, they're gonna fucking get me. I mean that's just part of the game. Although luckily I'm not trading, you know, still playing the long term, so didn't really take it myself. But if I were playing it, yes, I would have gotten caught in that one. We also do see that 4-hour RSI is putting in a rejection of the bullish control zone, and then more importantly also trending below the exponential on this as well. So all of this again does likely align with Bitcoin coming a little bit lower, and I'd essentially be looking for a Nasdaq-esque type move where Bitcoin comes back down to the low side of the range, at the very least 45,000 bucks, 46,000 bucks, and then, you know, does Bitcoin try a little bit lower? Maybe not. I don't have a strong opinion on that one, but we can see that there are several things that do suggest that is certainly a potential. Anyways, this is all coming on contracting volatility, so that tells me that Bitcoin is more or less ranging here, and what we'd expect to see is something like this, where Bitcoin puts in a range, something along these lines right here. As long as the moving average on this does stay with a negative slope, I look at this as going into a greater contraction phase, likely correlating with the major range that Bitcoin is putting on, basically between about whatever this high is right here at about 51,500 bucks and 45,000 bucks down here. So all of that, you know, is still long-term fine for myself, but, you know, we're dealing with big numbers right now, and that is, you know, technically speaking, almost a $4,000, $5,000 move, even just to the 200 simple right here. Anyways, what else did I miss right now? What's going on here? Oh boy, Chad said, he says, hey Krown, can we look at coin cryptocurrency? That Bitcoin? We can look at Bitcoin. Oh, Chad, you said the magical words, man. You said the magical words, sir. Actually, let me just highlight the other one too so I don't forget it, as we're almost done here, or at least with the short-term time frames. Then we got everything else. Anyways, 3-hour right here, same sort of thing, obviously precipitating that 3-hour Stokes down, 3-hour RSI, even putting in a little bit of divergence calls right there. And this is a really interesting thing. I need to talk about this at some point, because I think Caretaker's actually found something that has been so far unidentified within markets, which is just, I don't even think he meant to find it. I think it's just kind of like by happenstance, but at some point when we have a little more free time, we'll actually go over that, because it's just so fucking interesting how that actually does work out. Anyway, same sort of interpretations of what I see on the RSI on the 4-hour and in HVP there too. So let's go back down to the 2-hour, same shit. All lower term timeframes thus far in unison. Keep in mind though, we do have this competing trend line coming in right around here at the edge of the bearish control zone. So it would probably be looking for a bounce around here, but that also would be implying that Bitcoin does come down a little bit lower in the short term timeframes. And then of course, going down to the hourly as well, we do see more or less the same thing. So all lower term timeframes are essentially in agreement with each other. The only one thing, well, actually hourly Stokes are trying to cross up right here, but fair enough. That's just an hourly. Now I also want to call back to this. So there is one thing that could actually make me pretty bearish on Bitcoin. We do obviously have 3-day bearish divergence on CME confirmed. Well, I guess on the last tick, and then we also do see that the 3-day jewel is actually giving us a pretty damn good sell signal right here. Actually, one of the better ones that I've seen in a long time, and I'm like, it's just, where is this one going if that actually does get hit? Well, typically speaking, the 21 exponential moving average would be my target for a move like that, and that's actually coming in around 39,000 bucks as well. So it'll naturally pop up more and more as time transpires and goes sideways, but so that does imply that the longer that Bitcoin essentially, you know, doesn't break the range on the medium term timeframes right now, that naturally will pop back up. But I imagine, you know, somewhere around 40,000 bucks likely does align, and that does also align with what we looked at on the Trollinger bands, and it does align with what we looked at on a few other metrics as well. So I do like to put all these things together, because this is, well, a little bit more concerning to myself. But at the end of the day, again, I need to be very, very specific with what I'm saying. I'm not macro bearish in any way, shape, or form. I look at this as a major opportunity for the long term. I'll be uploading a video probably tonight. I'll make it live on like it's just a 30-minute fucking slog of all the different ways you can be looking at to kind of denote a major macro cycle high for Bitcoin specifically. And are we seeing any of them come into fruition right now? No, we're not. So to put it quite bluntly, no, we're not. So again, going back on over here, I do think that Nasdaq really does show the way right now. And to reference the title of this video, that's what I really would put the focus on, just because it led all major markets. Every other major market, like Dow Jones, like SPY futures, all the likes, they were suggesting a little bit of upside yesterday, of which we did get an initial upside move. But Nasdaq showed the way right after that, getting that nice little rejection. And while I do think that it bounces off the lows right here, probably comes back up maybe like 12.8, 12.9 region. Ultimately, I do think that we are setting up for continuation over the rest of this month, probably down somewhere around 12,000, actually 12,000 based off the weekly right here, just structure. We can see that that is our last little basing region, a little bit above 12,000 bucks. I'd say more like 1,100-ish region, probably looking for bounce around that region. And looking at the monthly, that's actually exactly where the 10 simple moving averages. So I do see several points of confluence, and I would be looking for greater bounces off that region. Could that turn into the next major low? Potentially, yes. But now we are actually starting to see regular bearish divergences pop in on this high right here. So technically speaking, this is not confirmed as a local high just yet. But if we do come back down below January low, which we came about 20 bucks shy of doing last night, it looks like, then technically, yes, you will have this confirmed as a local high, at least in my view. And I'll be looking for a move somewhere down around the 10 simple. So I do think that Nasdaq probably has some more downside to go throughout this month. And at the end of the day, again, I do not think that this is going to be like the major reversal that a lot of people are looking for. I think that this ultimately ends up being a major opportunity for Nasdaq and Bitcoin and the likes. And same thing, when we look at right on over here on SPY futures, we can see that it comes back down, tests the lows, same shit, basically pretty much the same chart. Short term, bounce, yes. Does the bounce get sold into? Probably yes. Also probably yes. Dow Jones futures, same thing. Not as nasty as the other ones, but even this one, when it was looking better yesterday in comparison, as we did point out, it's Nasdaq that leads. So Nasdaq sets a tone, and everyone else pretty much follows. And that makes sense too, especially for something like Bitcoin, which is kind of trading with the techs. If you want to even just narrow it down by the tech sector, we can look at symbol XLK over here. You can see that this one's putting that same sort of distributive pattern on the top. This would technically be a head and shoulders right here, increasing volume on the down leg for the right shoulder. Pretty damn good. And I would be looking for this one, to come back down somewhere around about 125-ish region, and then try a bouncy bounce there. So I do think that both Nasdaq and XLK are kind of the ones that really do show the way, especially in this day and age where all the tech sector is kind of like driving the most of the major market moves. And well, I do think that that's very much relevant for Bitcoin, as verified by last night's fake out move to the upside and then down move straight after that. So a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside, but ultimately an opportunity awaits, probably a little bit, probably somewhere within the middle of this month if I had to guess, although timing of these sorts of things I don't think can really actually be done, but it's fun to kind of mentally masturbate about. Anyways, we will get on over to Mr. Anthony Lorenzo now, who says, hey Krown, can you look at Muse? They created a Uniswap for NFT. It's pretty cool, and it has very low supply of 500,000 coins. Okay, that sounds like a marketing ploy is what it sounds like to me, but we can check it out. It looks like it's actually not even on trading view, unfortunately, unless if that's not the ticker. But I don't see any. I don't see. No, it's this one right here. Okay, wrapped Ether. Okay, there we go. All right, well, interesting nonetheless. We can already see right off the bat that on a daily, this one barely has any history. So I very much don't like to put my thoughts on something like this, because there's just not enough history to really be working off of. I really need to see multiple years in order to get like a good read on something, or at least where I think technical analysis starts to actually make sense, especially on like a daily plus. If you put a gun in my head and said, Krown, fucking call it or die, I'd say probably down here. Probably down. We do see that Jewel on the 4 hour is giving a little bit of a halt of your short signal, assuming that you can even short something like this, which you probably can't. But I don't trust that, man, to be honest with you. I just don't trust it. I mean, look, it's not even barely been populated fully since literally the 1st of March. So it's had 4 days to actually populate a little bit of itself. If I did have to call it, probably downside move to like, what is this, 0.09 not 293 butyrols and then probably bounce there. I mean, look, this is your weekly, man. Weekly, it's obviously bullish, but there's just not much to be going off of here. So again, long term good, short term probably a little bit of a pullback. Kind of reminds me of Bitcoin in a way. Anyways, moving on, and let's get into, okay, let's see how long we've been doing this. About 30 minutes. Okay, I think that we can actually get in some comments now. Hey, what's up, Rocky Outcrop? That's on. Fuck yeah, man. Good to see you, man. By the way, guys, check out Rocky Outcrop's channel. He's pretty cool. He's got some interesting analyses and seems like a pretty damn good guy. Awesome, man. Mike says, brother, please help a noob out. Okay. How to stop loss Bitcoin USDT on a 4 hour? How to put in a stop loss? Man, if you don't know how to put in a stop loss, I would not be putting in trades at all. If that's what you're asking. Are you literally asking how to put in a stop loss or where you should put a stop loss in? Well, I don't even know your fucking position, man. So I don't know how I could possibly give you an answer for that, man, or a reasonable answer at least. So I'll get on to the next one over here. Kyle Winhams says Uber and Lyft daily, weekly. Jesus Christ, man. We got all of the fucking car ones, don't we? All right. Well, Uber right here on New York Stock Exchange. You said daily, weekly, specifically daily, sideways, and probably does come a little bit down to about 51.30. Weekly, still more or less up over the long term, I'd imagine. Short term down, long term very likely up. What was the other one? Lyft. Does this one even? Is this one even? Yeah, this one did IPO not so long ago though. Yeah, this one's been around for for a few years. Not bad. Weekly good. This one's actually a little bit better. This one's actually certainly better than Uber, I'd say. Likely does make a run towards $67. Short term, however, yeah, short term's good here too. Daily, weekly, both good on this one. Lyft is actually looking a lot better than Uber, to be fair. So I'd be bullish on both daily and weekly for Lyft. Probably looking for a retest of this high in July 2019, somewhere around about $6-7. Looks pretty damn good to me, actually, especially when compared to Uber, for example. The Mad Catter says, please, Mr. Krown, a 10D update on GME. Oh baby. All right, so the hot one, man. I'm getting the fucking 2017 crypto treatment for GME now, as I'm getting a lot of people starting to hit me up who I haven't spoken to in years, saying, hey bro, should I be holding GME, GameStop? I've heard this one will moon. It's good fucking luck with that, man. GameStop update, yeah, it probably has a little bit of short-term upside here. Maybe gets another pop back up to 144, 145 region, but I don't really have anything to change my opinion on this one, man. This one's very likely to come back down below $100, probably within the next week or two. I would not be surprised to see that. $85, and I'd probably be looking for a greater bounce there, and then doesn't want to have continuation lower over time. It probably takes its time, obviously, but understand that this can really, the way that this is going to be played, it's going to be a long form war of attrition by probably Citadel, who can fucking do that, and in the Wall Street bettors, they will very likely end with tears, man. I've been saying this for a long time. I still stick with my analysis that this is the high right here. Don't think that this one ever sees above $400 ever again in its life. Probably not even above 250, if for being exact. The only way that I could even get short-term bullish on this one is if it takes out this high from 25th of February, and that's all the way at 169 region. So it's probably not happening anytime soon. Yes, it likely does get a short-term move to the upside here. You can see a little bit of higher lows on the very short-term time frames, but back up to 145, 150ish region, that looks like bull trap territory to me, and then drive it back down again. Especially when you consider that Nasdaq is doing what it's doing right now, not because these two are completely related, in the tech sector, obviously, or the financial sector, but if Nasdaq and the rest of the broad market's coming down, I'd be looking for this one to follow suit as well. This one's just kind of airing itself out sideways first, and you can see what's happening right here. You're seeing that what's going on is that the major market operator here, whatever you want to call it. I refer to them as market movers. Some people refer to them as the operator, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Very uneducated people call it the market maker because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But what they can do is they can just draw this one out sideways and just bore the shit out of all of these fucking Redditors who if they took their profits, good on them. But I highly doubt that the latecomers will win this war. In fact, Citadel's already won. They've already won because they are the main market maker. They are the lead market maker for GameStop. And guess what? The more trades that go through, the more money that they make. And they probably are already in profit. In fact, I do believe that I saw a statistic yesterday that suggests that they are very much in profit. And so that means means that they can just add to those balances. They can keep on rolling those short positions. They're not going to have a problem holding on to this. I can tell you that straight up. Citadel used to fuck me when I was a market maker. They used to fuck me very, very harshly, and I absolutely hated it. And everyone would make fun of me for it because I just couldn't figure it out in my first year of trading that these guys were just absolutely wrecking me left, right, and center. And I imagine that it's going to be very similar here too. They can play a lot of games. They're very, very smart, and they're not going to let this one go. I can almost assure you that. Krosnick says Ethereum USD on the 4-hour and Ethereum Bitcoin on the 24-hour. All right. Well, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. All right. Well, let's see. 4-hour Ethereum USD right here. Short term down, similar to Bitcoin. I'd be looking for a move back down to like 1480-ish region, probably the next few days. What about the daily versus Bitcoin pairing? All right, that's quite the thing right there. I actually do think that this one's getting ready for a bit of a bounce here, but I do believe that bounce gets sold into. How high does the bounce get to? Maybe like 3.3 or 3.4 million satoshis, but ultimately I do think that this one is getting ready for a move much lower. If this one came up to, this one could trade a little bit higher than that, maybe even 3.5 million satoshis, but I would look at that as a major opportunity to get the fuck out, assuming that you're in, as we do see momentum oscillators turn south side on the higher term timeframes, and also this one is breaking some major levels right here. So I don't necessarily favor it over the next like couple months here, but long term probably does turn out to be okay. I mean, this is starting to show some signs of accumulation long term. I'm talking about long term over the last 3 years, going back to 2018. So this can obviously take a lot more time, which it sounds like you're on the 4-hour and daily, which you're probably not too interested in. But yes, overall, I do think that this one does come lower. Short term, though, very likely a bounce, probably up to anywhere between 3.3 and 3.5 million satoshis. I know that that's not that helpful, but I've learned on altcoins, it's better to be a lot more generous with them than not, because they can really get moving sometimes when they want to. And I do want to check out the Bitcoin dominance here too, as the Bitcoin dominance is becoming. This is exactly what you'd expect. It's sideways as fuck. We're seeing some altcoins that look like shit. We're seeing some altcoins that look great. And so this chart is becoming less and less relevant over time, but I still do look at this as very likely to put in a low here. This looks like it's we're obviously catching bids in this region right here. Obviously you can't trade against that, but it should naturally be fractally related to the price of everything. And in this case, I very much do favor the upside long term. Anyways, moving on, I do see Mr. Rami says, hi, Krown. Hello, Mr. Rami. Can we look at medium long-term outlook on NIO, the Chinese Tesla, they say? Is that? I thought it was like a beverage company. Sure, yeah, we can look at it. Trades on New York Stock Exchange, so it can't be too bad. Weekly down, I'd be looking for this one to have a big retracement back down to about just above $30, anywhere between about around $30, we'll call it, around $30. And then you said medium and long-term, so that'd be your long-term, because this one doesn't have too much history here. Daily would be your medium term. I'll still be bearish on this one as well. Bearish on both time frames, coming back down to $35 probably over the next week or two, and then I'd look for a small bounce there, and then continuation down somewhere around $30 after that, which these are big moves, on a $40 number, obviously. Hex Outlaw says, Krown, I never ask. Lol, Hex USD on the daily. Oh man, we got some strong username to post content ratio going on right now. But yeah, we can look at Hex here. I'm actually curious to see, because I remember I did have, I almost said Roger Ver. No, not Roger Ver. What's his name? Richard Hart. Yeah, that's right. Richard Hart on like 2 or 3 years ago now. Okay, seriously, does this even show up here? Oh, it does. Okay, it's on trades on HitBTC. Nice, excellent, fucking great. And he had some very interesting things to say. So let's see what this one's been doing. To be fair, versus the US dollar, this is actually not a bad chart, and I would be bullish on it short term. I'd be looking for a move back up to 1 cent, a little bit above 1 cent. But this is not a bad chart, to be fair. It's actually not a bad chart at all. We do see higher lows over a long period of time. This one has been around for how long now? Going back to 2020, so I guess not that long. Short term, though, I would be looking for some upside. Again, regardless of your thoughts on this one, but we do see some clear signs of accumulation here, to be fair. We do see some like this going on, so rising lows. You do see a nice little ceiling on this current accumulation phase, it looks like, somewhere right around about 0.135 region. So I'd be looking for a breakout above this region, leading to likely new all-time highs, and probably this area to get accumulated on. We do see someone turn on the fucking volumizer bot, it looks like, on fucking HitBTC. Now again, do I trust these exchanges? Fuck no, I don't. These are like the garbage, the lowest of the low exchanges. But if I'm just looking at straight up charts, yeah, this one does look good. Probably good within the context of of a Hex, I guess. And actually would be looking for the next move to be to the upside here. Bondo Chang, am I saying that properly? I've been spending around 2 hours every day last year and a half in watching Krown's video, which is like 900 hours already. Oh my God, you're having like my fucking raspy lesbian voice being etched into your brain, man. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it, man. Elsa's already done it, and look, she's gone fucking crazy. Feel like I'm closer to Krown than my friends around. That's awesome, man. Deepest gratitude. Fuck yeah, man. I massively appreciate that, because you know what? In a more sincere tone, I actually do feel the same way, man. Like when I think about it, who do I spend my time with, like the majority of my fucking day? Well, here, I mean, I always do like about an hour and a half of analysis. And then, you know, on the Discord, I'm pretty much around all the time as well, prioritizing my time in the trading technical analysis channel nowadays, because shit just gets fucking crazy in the program chat floor. But, whoops, my other screen just went dead right there. But man, when I actually think about it, it's like, this is my fucking family. You know, whether you like it or not, you're my fucking family, because I spend more time with this crew than anyone else. I guess the only person that I spend more time with is Elsa, and you know what? She's a part of this crew as well. Look at her in the goddamn chats. Jesus Christ. Daniel Garcia says, "Hello, DDS on daily." DDS, is this like some sort of fucking orthodontist shit, or? I'm guessing it is. Okay, is this bullshit Uniswap, or is this Dillard's on your stock exchange? Because I do need. Okay, it's $100 probably. Think $100 can trade ring. Okay, yeah. So I'm guessing you're talking about this because it's right around $100. Yeah, I do think so. It's obviously put in a higher low right here. Momentum also has pointed up northwards the whole way around. Daily RSI looks good, looks constructive over the last about half a year. So I do favor the upside right now. Daily Stokes momentum showing upside as well. Yeah, I would be looking for this one to have another move back up somewhere around $100, and probably does try new highs after. Actually, does it try new highs after that? Well, we have a lot of history here actually. Yeah, this is a major change of behavior. I don't know about new highs, new all-time highs that is, but I would be looking for a move to about $100 region and then come back to it after that. There are several good things going on over here on the weekly, but I want to see that move first and then come back to it. Let's see. Mpolo says, "Hey, Krown, what's up, Mpolo? Where would Ethereum's long-term opportunity be?" Okay, so if we're going to be looking for, or let's say that Bitcoin, let's assume that Bitcoin plays out that downside move, whether it's 45,000 or 40,000 bucks, there would be areas that would be more or less akin to that on Ethereum, and let's see what those would be more or less like. So. Let's go over here to the daily, and let's see. Ethereum doesn't look too bad actually on the short-term time frames right here. 45,000 bucks would be about similar to 1,300, just below 1,300, as you can see on this same low that we have from the 28th of February. That would be about 45,000 on Bitcoin, I'd imagine. If Bitcoin does stab lower towards 40,000 bucks, I'd expect to see Ethereum somewhere down around about just below 1,100 bucks. So it is a bit of a tighter range there, to be fair. But to also be fair on the other side, Ethereum's actually showing a lot more bullish things than Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, I do favor Bitcoin's chart over others, meaning that if Bitcoin, is putting in like an obvious thing, I'm going to look for that to happen. Similar to like to Nasdaq in comparison to all the other major US indices. It's like if Nasdaq's doing some, I'm going to favor that one and likely apply that to the other indices rather than not. But to be fair, to give this one its due diligence, there actually are a couple good things going on right here. Hidden bullish divergence, technically speaking, you could argue that a good portion of that's played out. We did get that move to the 21 right after that, and daily Stokes are pointed up here northwards as well. Actually, let's see. Do we have any sort of? We do. Oh wow, actually we really do. Hold on, this is rather interesting. I don't know, is Ethereum going to be the key? Is Ethereum going to hold this one up? This is a trend line. This is probably one of the longest running trend lines that I can find in cryptocurrency space, going all the way back to November 2018, getting the lows right there. By the way, that was I imagine on price action way the fuck back on over here. Yeah, over here at $83.50, $83.50 fucking dollars. So very fucking interesting right there. And that is connected with our lows in. Hey, stop that. That's connected with our lows in July 2019, our lows in November 2019, March 2020, that's coronavirus dumb times, and September 2020, that was when Bitcoin was at 10,000 bucks, and now bouncing off this area once again. So if I do want to be bullish, I mean, we are kind of coming into some major areas here. I'm talking about this area, I'm talking about these major lows, this major low right here, and then once again hitting that area, but if Bitcoin turns down here, I imagine Ethereum does the same thing. So fair enough. Could I be wrong on Bitcoin? Should I not be favoring that? No, definitely not. No, I do think that Bitcoin has, I do think that Bitcoin at the very least has a move back down to like 48 and tries to bounce there. Something like that would be great. But again, I am speaking my book here. You know, these moves don't obviously have to happen. I just think that it's a little more likely. Maybe a short-term bounce off this current area as well. Let's see what the hourly is looking like. Yeah, probably back up to like 50,250, and then play it out, baby. Play it out. Much love, Mr. Rocky. Much love, sir. Keep smiling, indeed. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for your Thursdays. Burnt cream. I like a creme. You know what Elsa calls a creme brulee? She goes, "It's cream brulee." Cream brulee. Get fucking cultured, you Finnish. Jesus, man. Every day for 3 years now, we might actually be legally married in some countries. Actually, I believe it's two years of being together pretty much all day. You are what's called, what is it, like common law married? I think that's it. Best of the best, Microsoft and dailies, please. Oh yeah, man, I'm more than happy to look at Microsoft. This was my baby in traditional markets. Traded this one for probably the most time over a long period of time. It's crazy to see that it's at $227.5 now, seeing as I started trading it when it was like $30. So fair enough. Yeah, clear reversal right here. Bearish divergence, I'm sure, on the top. Yes, indeed. 1, 2, 3 drives. I'd be looking for a short-term move back down to about 220-ish region, which is not too far away from where we're at right now. But we are going to see momentum also turn down. Also fall. You can just visualize the trend line from January 2020 here as well. So that is a year long. So do we have a threat of a further downside move after a short-term bounce? Yes, I do think so. And where to be looking towards? I'll be looking somewhere around the 200 simple and 200 exponential average, and that is 210-ish region. So I would be looking for greater bounce off those levels. But short-term, a little bit of continuation. Bounce implied somewhere around low 220, and then continuation below there. And that's where game on once again, I'd say. Anyways, moving on, I see... Hey, what's up, Junior Regs? Been a while, man. Been a while, sir. Hope everything's all good. I need a second opinion on Cardano USD mid-short term. Okay. I'm going to... if you say mid-short term, I'm going to be defaulting to like a 12-hour and a 4-hour. And let's see. So you said Cardano USD. Okay, this is actually really good. Got the base pair and the time frames. This is really nice. Well, the weekly's having a bit of a backfill, so kind of do have to be looking for a bounce off these current levels. Short term, what do we have? Well, we do have a jewel sell, hodl your short signal. Kind of to favor the downside based off that, even though the weekly does look okay. And then you said medium term. Let's see what the 12 hours looking like. Momentum also still pointed southwards here. What about the daily? Yeah, daily's coming healthily down here too. But keep in mind, we actually do have this area coming in from way fucking downtown in November 2020, but that's going to be coming into contact today. So if it does fail to bounce here, I would extend those downside moves a lot more. I'd be a lot more interested in this thing if it was down around about 106.5 region, right around the 21 on the daily. If things want to come down even further than that, I mean, we do have a jewel sell signal on the daily as well. I kind of have to favor the downside here. Probably bounce off this 106 level, but does this one base a little bit lower than that, somewhere around like 90 or 95 cents? I think that's a little bit more likely, but that's not necessarily a medium-term time frame for this asset. Medium term, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of down is kind of what I'd be looking towards. Did we already get the backfill bounce on the weekly? You could argue that. Yeah, you could argue that right here. We see momentum also is turning down across the board. Weekly Stokes coming down, weekly RSI. Technically no divergences, but also extremely critical. We got up to all the way to a 95.37 read on the weekly RSI. That's pretty rare. You don't really see that very often. In fact, to put that in perspective, I don't even think Bitcoin's ever gotten up past 95 okay, yeah, actually it has. Oh wow, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, look at these ones over here in 2013 and 2014. Those were just generational reads. 99.5 versus 96.5 region. Everywhere else though, pretty much a lot more muted. This one over here around 95, but just barely. So pretty damn rare stuff right there. Probably does come down a little bit if I did have to call it. So that would be what I'm looking at right there. Anyways, Elsa's invading the chats right now. Great job, sir. Great job. Okay, let's see. EWT is looking strong this week. It sounds like Elliott wave theory is what it sounds like. Let's see. Is it looking strong this week? I'm guessing you're talking about cryptos and not real shit over here. Actually, that's a Taiwan ETF. I'm not even sure if that's what the relevancy of that one is. Trades on Kraken and KuCoin and Uniswap. Great fucking start, I suppose. Let's see. All right, we'll try. Oh, okay. Looking great this week. Looking real fucking good. Looking absolutely goddamn beautiful for the shorts. Whoopsies. MicroStrategy, please. Yeah, we can look at MicroStrategy here. Whoops, I might have just fucked up my mic. By the way, if you do see that my mic is all swishy swashy, just let me know and yell in my face, because that's apparently the best way to be doing it. Anyways, we'll bring it up right now. What exactly was that? Hold on. Yeah, MicroStrategy. Okay, gotcha. Okay, 731.5. I believe we did look for a pullback coming in this week, and we're getting that pullback coming in this week. I'd be looking for a short-term move to the downside, probably around 660-ish region, and probably another bounce there, anywhere between 650 and 660-ish region. I'd be looking for another bounce. Not terrible, not terrible, but not great. I mean, long term, definitely not bad, but short term, medium term, yes, downside implied here, and I'd probably be looking for bounces somewhere around 650. We'll call it, give or take a few bucks. New 510 says, Krown bro, new bro. After the bull market, can you do a contest? Winner gets to take mushrooms with you in Finland. Also, by the way, if the Finnish authorities are listening right now, I do not condone this activity. Motherfucker. Also, when's your biopic coming out? I don't even know what a biopic is, man. What the fuck is a biopic? Energy web token. There you go. All right. Let's see. Mike is okay. Excellent. Thank you for that, Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence. Appreciate that, sir. All right. The Saturn Epoch says, hi, Krown. Hello, Saturn Epoch. It is sun shining in Helsinki. I know. It's fucking crazy right now. Elsa's like actually happy, too. It's great. Rose US. Bless you, sir. Rose USDT daily and hourly. All right, so that's quite the difference in time frames there. But let's see, Rose USDT. Okay, this is called Oasis, huh? Daily's not bad. Daily's not bad at all, actually. You know, if this one came back down to like 86 cents, I'd look at that as a pretty nice opportunity there. Or is that 86 cents or is that 8? Yeah, that's 8.6 cents, not 86 cents, but 8.6. And then he said, okay, so that's your daily. What about a hourly? Okay, an hourly. That's like a generation away. Let's see. Short term up. Short term, I'd be looking for it to pop back up somewhere right around 10 and a quarter region. Be looking for a short term pop back up there. But ultimately, I do think that this one has a little bit more daily downside. Short term, however, a little bit of hidden bullish evidence coming off the lows. So fair enough. You know, short term does favor a little bit of upside try. After that, though, I'd probably be looking for this one to come back down. Okay, cool. Adam Holcomb has been absolutely spamming CRO USD. You know, we'll look at it this time, but in the future, I would appreciate it if you do not spam the same fucking ticker a million goddamn times, because it's just kind of annoying for everyone else, honestly. Like, it's not that annoying for me, but you know, for everyone else who's like treating the chat like a normal fucking conversation, you know, it's just like someone comes in and starts like barfing on them, and that would just be better without that. Anyways, CRO USD, what's going to be the right exchange to be looking at this? I mean, they're all pretty shitty exchanges here, except for maybe OKX. We'll look at HitBTC, I guess, because it probably has the most history. This is an hourly, looks exactly the same as the last chart that we looked at. Daily down, I'd be looking for this one to come back down towards 13.5 cents. Weekly is shitty as fuck. Shitty as fuck, sir. We got a shitty as fuck chart in progress. I mean, it's not that bad, to be fair. It's really not that bad, to be fair, but I do want to take the piss out of that just because fuck CRO. No, I don't know anything about CRO, but probably just come back down to like 10 cents or so, and that's going to be the next major opportunity. What else did I miss? Okay, all right. Krown, may I ask which Bollinger Band settings are you using for the weekly on Bitcoin BLX? I'm using default settings, actually. Default settings there. Let's see, CME, please. Yeah, what's up, Jock Frost, by the way? Yeah, let's go over to CME. Did you have a good time selling your wife and kids? Okay, so CME right here. I think the 4 hours very conclusive as well. Downside very likely implied off this. 4 hour Stokes coming back down, hitting this trend line as well and rejecting. Also on top of that, we do see that 4 hour RSI. Again, a clear and obvious rejection of the bullish control zone right now, trending below the exponential on this. You know, there's going to be ebbs and flows on this, but I do favor the downside here. Bounces likely implied off of about $48,000, same kind of territory as was relevant at the beginning of this week and last week. And then just does Bitcoin have further continuation of the downside after that? I do think so, but I would give it a chance to bounce off $48,000 first for the 4 hour, and then come back to it after that. Yeah, looking at the daily right here, I don't think it's just going to like shoot through today. So I do think the downside is a bit limited today, but it likely does play out over the next few days. Okay, cool. Live City says, Krown, hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Live City. Can we look at Litecoin Bitcoin, please? Yeah, sure. I really haven't looked at this one in like a very long time. Is this one still dying, the dead heartbeat of death? Yes, it is. Wow. We have perhaps the shittiest chart of today so far. It gets 3 fucks out of 3, and a fucking corn on the goddamn side because this one fucking sucks! Jesus Christ, Litecoin! Charlie Lee has forsaken us once again! This thing doesn't even know how to rally ever. It's been wrecked for too long, sir. It doesn't even know what an uptrend is. It actually doesn't even know what an uptrend is. Like, it quite literally does not even know. This is a a pump and dump chart. There's really little difference between this chart and like a Ripple Bitcoin chart. I'd be looking for the full retrace over the next like 3 months. 0.034. Looks bad. Looks shitty, man. Looks real fucking bad. J-Rod says, Krown, you beautiful hairy man. Man, that was very nice of you to assume, but I don't prefer to be called a man. I prefer to be called a bro. That's my gender pronoun. Oh yeah, my gender pronoun is Z's. Z's and chest bra. And if you call me anything else, it's the fucking gulag for you, bitch. And I live real close to Russia now, so I know exactly what that's like. Can you please look at the new CT hype trash? Reef Bitcoin, sure, man. On Nance. I like it. All right, hype Bitcoin, right? I don't see anything. Oh, no, sorry. Jesus Christ, man. I am all over the place today. Reef Bitcoin. Let's see this one on Binance. Holy fucking moly, man. I don't see what there's to be hyped about this, but shitcoin police are standing by right now, and they can see very clearly that actually this one's bullish on the short-term timeframes. All right, fair enough. You know, I judged it a little bit too early. Short-term, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up to 85 Satoshis. Holy fuck, man. This one's like super, super low Satoshi here, so I'm sure that it's going to be a darling of like the Redditors who want to find the low-cost coins. 14.5. That is a 14.5% move, though. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. To be fair, yeah, I'd be bullish on this one. Golden cross on the 4 hour as well. Not much history here, but I do favor the upside on the next move, probably somewhere between like mid to low 80 Satoshis region, and then come back to it after that. And every Satoshi counts on something like this. I mean, that is, quite the move, actually. Every Satoshi is more than a percent move, which is like very fucking relevant. I mean, this thing's like below 100 Satoshis right there. Let's see. Hey, what's up? Kenyon. Holy shit, man. Good to see Kenyon here. Holy fucking moly, man. Good old friend, Square, seeing some big warning signs on the 1 day and 3 day. All right, let's check it out. Square over here. All right, let's see. I'm already seeing warning signs on this one too, man. Yeah, I think this one's following Nasdaq. Bearish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives off the top, momentum turning down at the same time. We do see that historical volatility percentile is actually increasing as far as the longitudinal analysis of this one goes for the short term. So I do believe that this next move does come to the downside. Short term, probably be looking for a bounce off of like 215, just the weekly 21. Very likely to bounce it. I think that's the daily 89 here too. But this is starting to look a lot more toppy. As far as the daily goes. Well, I would be looking for a bounce initially off of this like 215, 218 level, maybe even bounce all the way back up to like 225 or 230-ish region. Ultimately, I do think that this one follows in Nasdaq's footsteps and probably puts in a more corrective move over the next like month or two. And, 10% move down would be what, like 190, 180-ish region, somewhere around the 200 simple and 200 exponential average, more long term, which I do think fits into the weekly analysis here as well. So yeah, I'd certainly agree with that actually. And by the way, weekly Jewel's given a big sell signal there too, so maybe we could even extend that even more. 3 day, same shit. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like it. Yeah, this is a clear trap right here and coming back down. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing below $200 within the next month or two. And by the way, Kenyon's actually going to be coming on this channel soon enough, as he is. Well, I'll let him tell his own story soon enough. I won't spoil a surprise, but very, very good old friend, and really fucking excited for that. Kendrick DeCamp says, "Greetings, bro, leader of the Cavians. I'm just part of this community, man, just like anyone else. Upcoming sales on the TA program? Actually, yes, there are, because it's going to be the 3-year anniversary in like a week. Hold on, it's the 4th of March right now. I think it's the 13th of March is the official 3-year anniversary. So, well, yeah, we'll do a discount period for that. So don't buy anything right now unless you don't like saving money, I guess. Fair enough. Maybe we have your thoughts on RBIFC. Okay, it's trades onto your stock chain. Can't be that bad. AR. BKF, yeah, BKF. Okay, too many letters in this ticker. Argo blockchain. Oh, it trades OTC. This one trades OTC, man. I don't see anything on the New York Stock Exchange, so I don't know if we're looking at the same thing right now. I don't know if we're looking at the same thing. So maybe we'll pass on this one and go to the LRC one that you want to look at. Does look like an accumulation at a high level here. I would favor the long-term upside. Although, how much long-term do you have on a chart that only has about 3 months of history? Not much, but I probably would be looking for a test back of $4.50 or sorry, 460-ish region. You said LRC USD. What is this? Library credits? Is this thing still relevant? Is this thing still alive? I think this is library credits. No, it's loopring. Loopring? What the fuck? Loopring? What the fuck is a loopring? How much history does this thing have? Oh, it's been around for a while. It's been around for a long time, going all the way back to August 2017. Oh man, this was a 2017 shitcoin aficionado right here. Very interesting though. So I do want to spend a second talking about this. So this one is a 2017 shitcoin. However, it doesn't have the general shitcoin chart that we typically see. This one actually is pretty damn close to its prior high, of which most 2017 shitcoins have been washed away into indifference. Now I do favor the short-term downside here. Probably does go for a corrective move. I would love to see this thing back down around about 30 cents region, and probably bounce there. But long-term, it looks decent. I mean, this one's obviously getting some love. You've seen some accumulation over the last couple of years here, which I think does make it stand out in comparison to most shitcoins. So it does deserve a little bit of respect. But very short-term, does it pop back up? Probably, yeah. Well, no. No, I think this one comes down with the rest of the market. Probably does come back down to like 50 cents short term. And then long term, I do think that it, probably bounces there and then tries a little bit lower over time. And then probably around 30 cents is where I'd be looking towards. But long term, it's not bad, actually. It's really not bad in comparison to most shitcoins. So I do think that one does deserve a different treatment in comparison to what we typically look at with the 2017 amazing technology coins. John Johnson said, that's man, you got an alliteration in your name. Holy shit. Thanks. Appreciate that, John Johnson. Really appreciate that, man. Do you believe that the replacement of gold by Bitcoin as a store of value is a real possibility? Do I think that, okay, so the question is, do I think that Bitcoin could replace gold as a store of value over time? Yeah, I think it is possible. Yes. So here's the thing: we live in a society today where everything's kind of digitized, and you have to understand that the people who are growing up past, like, if you were born in the year 2000, you grew up with the internet, and you don't know a life without the internet. And digitalized things seem more real to you than probably even real nature, because you probably had more experience with digitalized things than the real world outside. I mean, that's how, and especially now with coronavirus times, where people are literally locked in their fucking houses, their main mode of being is on the interwebs. And so I do think that for the newer generations, Bitcoin will inherently make more sense. I mean, even for myself, who and I was born in a generation before that, I kind of think that way as well, because gold, there actually are legitimate fundamental problems with gold. What would one of them be? Well, what happens when Elon Musk starts shooting his fucking rocket dildos all the way to different universes or galaxies, whatever the hell, because I don't know that terminology, and they find a planet made of gold? Look, I don't know if that's actually possible, but we live in a universe that has infinite possibilities. I mean, it's constantly fucking expanding. So it would be just as relevant to say that, something like that could come about. Or maybe, I don't know, people start fucking mining in the Congo, like way down, and maybe they find out that the earth core is made out of gold. Probably not, but you can see that, gold has those sorts of situations that could be relevant over time. And it could also just be that people don't really care for that as much anymore, because Bitcoin is hard programmed to essentially simulate gold's theoretical value to begin with, in the sense that in the sense that it actually has some advantages over it, I wouldn't even get into it. Someone else can explain that, but you get my point, right? You get my point in the sense that Bitcoin makes sense for the more newer generations, and at some point those newer generations are going to take over, and when they take office, they're going to be the ones making the decisions, and I imagine that is going to drive more and more interest towards Bitcoin over time, as gold is thought of as like an old people type thing. Right now, we have a great fucking meme war between Peter Schiff and his son. Peter Schiff, obviously the biggest gold bull, and he just, he hates fucking Bitcoin. He's made it into like a tribe. To be fair, he is getting free marketing. He's doing like a masterclass in that right now. Marketers, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms, however. But yes, when it comes down to gold, his son is a fan of Bitcoin, and his son is, well, currently speaking, a better investor than him. So at the end of the day, it's becoming like a war between the old guard and the new guard coming up. And well, just as time will decide, the old guard will fade away just because, I mean, that's human nature. You know, we don't live for fucking ever. And so those people who hold on to those beliefs, I think that they're just going to be washed out over time in a more like social sense. So I'm not even going, I can attack this from a couple different angles here, but I do think that Bitcoin just makes more sense long term. And Bitcoin does have more autonomous and control over it as well, which some people want, some people don't want. But I think the next question, what people typically have is, can Bitcoin replace the current system? No, I do not think so in that regard. I think that Bitcoin finds its placement within the current system, but at some point, you know, you'll need to be able to, you also just don't want to tear down something that's actually fucking working right now too. I know that some people would have some other things to say about that, but for the most part, you know, compared to how bad things can be, it certainly is working. And so only making small, minute shifts in the current structure is probably going to be the way to go, because you don't want to fucking live in a shitty world that doesn't really have like a good base on it. And I think that playing around with your monetary policy, that'd be a really good way to do that. So I do think that over time, yes, naturally it probably will take on that sort of responsibility. And then who knows, maybe something makes even more sense in Bitcoin long term too. Could happen, right? I mean, we should keep our minds open, because that's exactly what the gold people would have thought when Bitcoin was coming up, right? And you don't want to be that person stuck in the fucking past, unable to change their mind based off of new information. Anyways, let's see. Daniel Garcia says, how would you read the 3-day Stochastic trendline on Nasdaq futures? Bouncy bounce soonish. Would probably want to see lower timeframes setting up first. I mean, I do think that Nasdaq is setting up for a little bit of a bouncy bounce here, regardless of that trendline or not, just based off of kind of retesting that prior low. So let's see exactly what you're talking about first. Do we have a trend line here? We do have 2 touches on this trend line, and it would be testing it literally, maybe not today, but on the next tick, yes. Yeah, it will inevitably test it on the next tick, it looks like. But how much damage can be done to price action before then? I think quite a fair bit, actually. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come back down to 12,350 before that actually does happen. And shit, man, I'd love to see a move down to like 12,100. That'd be a nice, let's see, percentage-wise, that'd be a nice, yeah, just above 10% correction. Pretty damn normal stuff. And again, I'm not like long-term bearish on these, but I do think that we do have a corrective move to play out here. And it's going to be, this one so far has been very slow and controlled. It's been very, 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 very constructive down. So, I do think that it'll just kind of slowly float its way down. Where the next bounce levels be? Somewhere around 12,350. And then below there, we have about 12,100. I think those are the 2 areas that I keep an eye and ear out for. I do think potential reversals around low 1,200 as well. For the longer term. So I do think that it's becoming more and more relevant, but we're not quite there just yet. Okay, I think I missed another one. What is this? Admiral Blue. What's up, Mr. Admiral Blue? Are those rubles? You must be Russian. Okay, we're neighbors. That's cool. Great work, Krown. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Can you look at where is the next opportunity to pick up FTT? Give me a time frame, sir. I'm not a financial advisor, to be 100% clear, but what we can do is we can look at it over here, and I can give you my stupid opinion on it, which is actually pretty good. Exchange coins looking pretty good here. Hidden bullish divergence coming off the lows. Daily Stokes looking like they're holding into the bullish control zone and twisting back up once again. I'd have to favor the upside here. Probably retest of the highs at 34.5, 34.65 region. And I don't know. What about short term? Short term, a little bit of sideways and down, however. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come back down to like $28. So I understand that that's kind of a bit of a conundrum, but you didn't give me a time frame here, so I'm unsure of what you're really looking for. But I do think that it probably plays out the downside move with Bitcoin, but ultimately I would be looking for this one to make another stab at the prior high and probably beyond. Exchange coins actually are looking pretty good on the whole here. Looking at the weekly, yeah, I mean, this could very easily be engulfed. I mean, it's going to be toppy relatively soon, but I want to see like weekly divergences, and right now we don't have that. We don't have like a full-on high just yet. So I do think that is coming up, but I don't know. Do I favor this one over Bitcoin's reads, however? I probably would be looking for short-term downside here. I would be looking for short-term downside, long-term upside, essentially. Doesn't look bad, though. The Russians are watching you, Krown. The Russians are here. All right, Mr. Putin, let's talk. Jonathan says, yo, Krown, thanks for the vids. All good, man. Would you trust something like DeFi Perp, FTX, for judging DeFi's alt strength? Let's see. So it's a basket of 25 DeFi coins on FTX. Interesting. FTX is very good with all of these kind of like more exotic things, I suppose. DeFi perp is the ticker. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at it, I guess. Daily actually has okay. I mean, not really. Still not even a year there, but yeah, does look short-term bullish here. Not necessarily short-term because we're on a daily, but probably more medium-term bullish. Short-term, if we go down to a 4-hour, I still kind of favor the downside here in line with Bitcoin as well. Probably back down to like 9650. But your question was, would you trust something like DeFi Perp for judging DeFi alt strength? I'm just not the best person to ask about this because I don't know what like the right DeFi coins are. I don't know which ones are the most relevant. I don't know which ones are scams, and I don't know what's included in this basket over here. That'd be a really good question for Elio Trades. He's embedded in the DeFi sector like crazy. He's actually able to talk to like the teams and whatnot, and he can do like real research on them, not just like fucking I'm going on CoinGecko and doing research, right? No, that's very remedial shit, but. I'd have to ask him actually what he would think of this particular ticker here. I don't know myself, but I can tell you as far as a daily goes, I do like the chart. Short term, however, probably a little bit of downside. Well, 4. I was going to try to put in a higher low here, isn't it? Let's see. Do we have any divergences alongside that? Actually, we would. Hold on. Let's confirm. We see a 53.31 read right there versus a 53.04 read. So yeah, technically would be putting some hidden bullish divergence here. No, I take that back. Short term likely does work its way back up towards 11,000. Fair enough. Very fair enough there. All right, let's move on and see what else we got. Jesus Christ, man, this stream is getting long as fuck. Long as hell, man. I need to go to the gym too, so let's see. I can still manage another like 10 or so minutes. Spiros83 says, Krown, sir. Spiros, sir. Can you educate me and explain why you think Dixie will put in a local low and a potential reversal despite all the dollar printing? Because that's not what it's relevant to. The Dixie. Okay. So first off, first thing, I think where your misunderstanding of this is probably coming from the fact that you think like Dixie is the dollar. No, Dixie is the dollar's value relative to other shit, relative to a basket of other fiat currencies within the world. So it doesn't matter how much they're printing. It only that means nothing without context. And this is what a lot of people get really fucking wrong about this stupid meme that's been exploding in the market, that like the Fed is printing uncontrollably. It's like, no, it's always relevant to something else. So let's say that the US dollar is printing like, I don't know, let's just for example's sake say that they're printing $100 per day. Well, it's obviously not that, but let's just say, well, that means nothing on its own. Let's say we now compare that to, I don't know, a basket of currencies, and one of them is going to be like the Japanese yen. Okay, well, what if they print 1,000 yens per day? Then what? Would you expect Dixie to go up or down? Well, obviously it's going to go up in relation to the other currencies because they're getting devalued in relationship to Dixie. So it's always relevant to each other. And this is what people really fucking don't get right about this whole like dollar printing meme, which is it's just silly bullshit. Like if that shit actually worked, then all those people thinking like that would be rich as hell, and they're not. Then they're just not. They're posting fucking memes on crypto Twitter and Reddit and spending their day that way. Anyways, so why do I think that is putting in a local low here? Well, I think it's pretty damn obvious, seeing as we do have major divergences forming on the weekly for right now. We do see that it is actually even trying to put in a bit of a higher low right there as well in comparison to that 89 3/4 low. And not theoretically, but historically speaking, we have seen all these reversals on the macro scale take about 3 months, a little bit over 3 months. You can reference this one over here in 2018. You could reference this one over here in 2011, in 08, 95, and 90. I won't go through it myself because I've done this a million fucking times on the late day wrap up videos, and I think that is just boring for most people right now. So it is showing plenty of signs of putting in a bit of a low here. I'm sure that someone uneducated will say, "But Krown, this is a bear flag." No, it's not. No, it's actually not a bear flag. You'd expect to see some sort of hidden bearish divergences on this if it was a bear flag, and we don't. Over here you could have made that assessment. Yes. Over here, no, we don't have that in place right now. And that's typically that's almost always what you do see on those bear flags if they are going to play out, and you don't see that right here. So we also see momentum oscillators turning up across the board. This weekly Stokes getting out, or going to have a chance to get out of the bearish control zone for the first time in literally 6 months since October. So October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, about 6 months. So half a year. Pretty damn relevant, I'd say. Very, very relevant, I'd say, actually. Flavio Morel says, that's a very exotic name. Sir, followed you for the past 3 years. Love your content. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Please look at Rook USD on Poloniex. All right, Poloniex, man. This is where dead coins go to die. So this is Keeper DAO. This one doesn't have much history, though. Please look at Poloniex for full history. Looks like there's not much to begin with, man. Wow. Obviously going through a little bit of short form accumulation right here. I'd probably be looking for a short-term move back up to like 560 or 550-ish region. For as much history as we have, I actually do think that it's okay. And I would favor the short-term upside, yes. Did you give a time frame, however? Oh, you said daily, weekly. Well, there's not much of a weekly to look at here. Daily, I'd be short-term bullish here. Probably extend that move up to like 590 to 600-ish region. Or sorry, let's see. What exactly is this level right here? 580 to 590 is what I'd settle on. Weekly is long-term down. If you just gave me this chart and said, fucking figure it out, Krown, that's what I'd say, long-term down. But I don't trust something that literally has like 2 months of history at best since January 2021. So I really don't trust it that much. But if you put a gun to my head and said analyze the weekly, that's what I'd say. The daily is a little more clear here, though. Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. Kendrick Camp says, what does Kendrick say? Where is he? There he is. I see him. Spending the TA core savings. Your thoughts on holding a stock listed on the London Stock Exchange versus only OTC for Americanos? The Dominicans are watching you. The Dominicans. All right, nice. Okay, so let me first make sure that I understand what you're saying here. Your thoughts on holding a stock listed on London Stock Exchange versus only OTC. So if I understand your question properly, you're saying I'm looking at the same stock. It's listed both OTC on American markets and on like regular London Stock Exchange. And I'm wondering, like, it's just if everything else is equal, what would I settle? Like, which one would I rather hold it on? London Stock Exchange. I mean, that's more established. OTC is mostly bullshit. Not always bullshit. It's kind of like the altcoin market. You're gonna have some winners there. You're gonna have some big, phenomenal, massive winners. To I don't know what's like a Trump meme on that one. Like phenomenal, great, amazing winners there on the OTC market. But for the most part, it's mostly garbage. But it's mostly bullshit. They're mostly worthless, and that's why they trade OTC and not on a real exchange. So yes, if everything else is equal, I would favor the London Stock Exchange because you probably also have like more protections there as well. You don't give, I guess you didn't give a signal, or was it H2O, or are you just saying water? Let's see, is that going to pop anything up on both? Nope. Okay, that was just a water sign, just a water sign. All right, cool. All right, let's see. No More Paper says, Krown, thank you very much for your psychological series. Smash likes. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And Junior Riggs, welcome to the channel, sir. My fucking man over there. My fucking man. But yes, to get a little more into that, I actually I really want to upload another video in that series as I kind of recollect my thoughts on a topic that we spoke about a couple days ago. I think it was on Monday. And the topic was, what was it? Like quantum moments in trading, which is also it's just relevant for everything in life, actually. But I feel like there's a lot more to be said about that, because that's a really powerful idea that it can there's no real end to it, which is actually kind of scary, because you can take that to fucking infinity, but then you also might just have like the best life possible if you do take that to infinity. So maybe you should, but then again, it's gonna be, I don't know. It's kind of difficult, because it's like every fucking second of the day I'm going to be making that decision. Jesus Christ. But basically, you know, the premise of that video is like, look, someone was asking a question about FOMO, right? Someone was asking a question about FOMO and like, Krown, I feel FOMO. How do I not do it? And it's like, okay, look, you already know the answer to that question. And every fucking second that you spend thinking about that, you're making a decision. And I refer to that as like a quantum moment within your life, because if you give into that FOMO, you are essentially, perpetuating that sort of behavior, and you already know the answer. You know when you're FOMOing, you know what you should be doing. You know when you should go to the gym, right? It's the same mentality as that, or the same sort of logic as that. You know what you actually should be doing. And the reason why you you ask those questions is because you want someone else to tell you the answer because you don't trust your own intuition. And what I'm saying is trust your intuition. You already likely know. If you've been around this channel for a long time, even just like half a year to a year, you already fucking know, man. You know when you're FOMOing. If you've gone ahead and FOMOed a couple times already, you know that feeling. And this is why I think it's very important to be keeping a trade journal so that you can document how you feel during those times, what the setups were like, and why you didn't follow your previously set out plan. Those are really important things to meditate on and think about, because that is, well, that is the answer to a lot of things in life, I think. you know, it's like, you know what the fucking right answer is what I'm trying to say. Flavio says, Rook on FTX, my bad. Okay. Oh, on FTX. All right. Rook. Okay, so we got FTX right here versus USD, I'm guessing. Poloniex doesn't trade with the market value on Uniswap. FTX does. Interesting. Okay, so they're not tethered to that. Do you want perps or do you want USD? Let's see. I'll look at both actually. Very shitty right here. But let's look at the perps because I suspect that they might have better history. No, we don't have perps there. Let's just type in this and let's try this one. Nope, looks the exact same. Okay, pretty shitty. Down we go into the crypto abyss towards 404. Bear Jesus shall know. 430 first bounce, second bounce, somewhere around like 400-ish region. Okay, all right. Krown, did you see the Congo village finding a mountain of gold? Literally? Really? A mountain of rock stock, says Johnny Button. No, I didn't see that, but that's just kind of playing into what we spoke about earlier. It's like when you find something like that, that's, gonna, well, you could also argue that maybe that was what he priced in. Who the fuck knows? I'm not connected as much, but that's the sort of situation that I'm kind of postulating that could be, applied in a whole fucking universe at some point, right? Okay, cool. Okay, I think we can stick around for maybe just one more. So I'll just get down to the very last one here. That's awesome, BMA. Okay, so Lindsay Ford says, "Good evening from New York." Oh, sweet. It must be like really late there. Could you check out CLSK on New York Stock Exchange? Sure. All right, nice. A nice stock to end this one off. CLSK right here. Clean Spark on Nasdaq. Let's see. This one's actually a little bit more of a difficult one. Long term it's good, yes. Long term uptrends do deserve respect, but what is this? What is all this shit over here? Long term good. Short term, do we get another bounce off this region? This is a bad one to end on because I'm actually very much stumped by this one. Hidden bearish divergence. Yeah, I favor the momentum on this one short term. If I did have to call it again, thinking in line with like Nasdaq and the rest of the major indices, I do think that this one does come back down 22.25 short term. Long term, I don't think it's too bad. But why is the daily and weekly so different? Yeah, what's going on here? These are completely different charts. I don't know. I don't understand what's driving this. Okay, this has history all the way back to 2013. What about the daily? This is 2020. Why are we not getting most of the history there is the real question. So I'm a little bit inclined to say I would actually not trust my opinion on this because we're getting like phenomenally different charts here. Weekly would be long-term bearish, obviously. Daily would be long-term bullish, but the weekly does have more history. I'm inclined to say that this. All right. Is that everything for today? I think that's just about everything for today. I think we've been doing this for about an hour and 20. That's good. That's good for now. Mr. Fractalis Jackson, I see you over there, man. Mark LaCroix, I see you as well, sir. Love it. Fucking love it. Shorted like crazy. Stumped also. Yeah, I'd say short term down. Long term, I'm not so clear on this one. Short term does look down to me though. Okay, all right. Should we go back and wrap up on Bitcoin? Yeah, let's wrap up on Bitcoin, but let's wrap up on Bitcoin by doing it on CME because I think this chart's a little more obvious right now, and it plays into the Nasdaq theory a little bit better as well. And did we make a new high above? Yeah, actually, we did make a new high on CME as well. But fuck it. All right, but fuck it. No, just regular fuck it actually. Okay, cool. Should we start off over here again? Do I want to go through all this explanation? We can just briefly reference it. How about that? All right, let's wrap this bitch up, sirs and zers. Filson, Mr. Filson, you are late. What's up, Nate? Okay, cool. All right, Bitcoin on the monthly, as always, want to remind myself that long-term, yes, bullish, trending above the topside trailing band, nothing wrong with that. However, every time that we have been trending above the topside trailing band for 100% of the time over the history of about 11 years for Bitcoin, we have tested the topside trailing band within the next month, on that monthly, and the same thing on the bi-monthly, of which both have been doing that. Now, we've been talking about this for a long time now, so I don't want to go through the full rigmarole on this one, just reference the prior videos if you want an explanation on that. So that does still imply that Bitcoin does have a threat of a downside move here, somewhere down around low 40,000 bucks, and there's two ways that I could test it, of course. We could either come back down to that low $40,000 region, or Bitcoin just gets so goddamn green and pulls it up to that $45,000 low currently, where that happened at around, as far as price point goes, somewhere a little bit above 6,000 bucks would seem about right. So with that in mind, that is the long term, obviously, and I just want to show that long term, yes, bullish, but could we play out some short term, medium term downside? Yeah, absolutely, and I would be looking at that as a major opportunity. So I have to be very fucking clear with that, because I fear being misinterpreted on that one. Anyways, going over here into the lower term timeframes, I do think that Bitcoin is shaping up for a nice little short-term fake out, as we saw yesterday, to about 53,000 bucks. Now coming down, we see that 4 hour breaking back down below the prior high, plus momentum turning down at the same time. Plus, actually, we don't have any divergences here because we did make a slightly higher high on this one, but ultimately, we do see that there is something rather concerning on the 3-day here. We do see that the 3-day is actually having a pretty damn good jewel sell signal alongside 3-day Stokes turning down as well. And what we see on 3-day RSI is playing out that bearish divergence from the last high. Although, well, actually, no, I was going to say that you could argue that that's already played out. The easy portion of that move is already played out, but the next target would be around the 21, which is where? Low $40,000 region. So I am still defensive against a move down there. I know that sounds like a broken record, but I do think that patience within this market is warranted. Bitcoin can trade sideways for a little bit longer, and I do think that this really plays into Nasdaq, which does seem to be leading pretty much all markets. Now, Nasdaq on the short-term timeframes over here, we see something very, very similar. We saw the lower high yesterday, that got our continuation down, target down right around about 12,800-ish region, of which we're kind of seeing the bounce off this level right now. Now, I do believe that this one will bounce off this level. Yes, probably bounce up, maybe even as high as 12.8 once again, maybe even 12.9, but ultimately I do believe that bounce will get sold into, and we go for a greater corrective move, probably somewhere down at the very least to the low $12,000 region, like 12,150, with a bounce along the way at about 12,350-ish region. So I do imagine that does play into Bitcoin, as we do see these markets are very, very heavily correlated, and that does make me kind of still favor filling out the downside of that range. But again, long term, do I see anything wrong with this? No. I mean, the funny rate plus the open interest rate and also the fear and greed index would all be would all be indicative that Bitcoin is going through a period of reaccumulation. So I do look at this as long-term bullish and likely to present an opportunity, but does that mean that short-term, medium-term just go fucking green dildo mode to the heavens? I mean, possibly yes, but I don't think it's very likely. Now, what would tell me that I'm immediately wrong on this, however? What would tell me that I'm like sincerely wrong? Bitcoin's just going to green dildo its way to the fucking heavens. There's not a great way to do this right now, because Bitcoin is putting some fake outs here and there. We could obviously use yesterday's high. I think that area would be calling it a little bit too close, because still that wouldn't necessarily imply that Bitcoin's in full on breakout mode. This is where Bitcoin is implied to be in full on breakout mode, which is 54,000 bucks on a daily closure or 55,000 bucks on a 4-hour closure. And that would imply a retest of the prior all-time high, and then next targeted region to the upside based off the 3-spot extension would be about 62,000 bucks. That's to the point when Bitcoin actually would drag the topside trend band back up to the current low of about 45,000 bucks. So, is that possible? Yes. Do I think it's more probable than filling out the downside first? No, I don't think so. So with all of that in mind, I would like to wish you the best of the best and the haps of the happiest. It's been an absolute blast today. Some good times with some good people. I'll be back on tomorrow doing some more live stream analysis. With that said, take care, everyone, and I wish you well.